Greetings of peace to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank everyone, especially to Mr. Masao Tomonaga, who gave me this valuable opportunity to visit Nagasaki and present the Nagasaki Global Student Assembly for elimination of nuclear weapons. And I am very pleased to be with Nagasaki people to make nuclear-free world. I'd like to focus on Korean Peninsula issue as one of the most crucial issues for nuclear-free Northeast Asia and the world. Early in 2014, the Korean Peninsula was one of the brink of another violent crisis. The tension under the unstable armistice on the Korean Peninsula have dramatically mounted with arms race, military tensions, and distrust among countries. It is fortunate that during the second half of the year, highlighting tension on the peninsula have been eased through resuming Korean dialogue and the reopening of the Kaesong industrial complex. However, the Korean peninsula is still in a vicious cycle of conflict and crisis. In recent years, the U.S. and South Korea has concentrated on imposing sanctions against North Korea instead of holding a dialogue. However, the so-called strategic patience has not been effective in encouraging North Korea to change their attitude. Instead, North Korea used this situation to further developing their nuclear weapons and missile-launching capabilities. In response, it provided the U.S. with good opportunity to justify its building of missile consistent nation and keep up to Asia's strategy. This vicious cycle is tumbling to reach sparks of peace in the Philippines. It is now time to review policies by the South Korean and the U.S. government. It is crucial to review whether these policies have been based on realistic expectations, prejudices, and stereotypes towards North Korea, and move on to realistic expectations and balanced perspectives to break out of the vicious cycle of conflicts and crises on the Korean Peninsula. Around 20 years of nuclear crisis on the Korean Peninsula shows us that current situation is a result of interactions among South Korea, North Korea, and the U.S. and other neighboring countries, rather than North Korea's responsibility only. For example, in 1994, although the Clinton administration promised negative security assurance through the Geneva Agreement framework, the declassified U.S. document revealed that the U.S. secretly simulated military exercise using its nuclear weapons against North Korea. It is well known fact that the U.S. had no intention of fulfilling the Geneva Agreement framework at first, due to its expectation that the North Korea would collapse soon. The Bush administration also believed that North Korea would immediately collapse. Therefore, the Bush administration ignored the U.S. DPRK joint communique. and regarding North Korea as an axis of evil and the main target for preemptive attack. To the Bush administration, unification through absorption by South Korea was a basic strategy for North Korea. At the later part of the member administration, South Korea formalized the unification by absorption as its official policy for the North Korea. Therefore, to find fundamental solution for problem of the Korean Peninsula, including North Korean nuclear issues, it is necessary for both South Korea and the U.S. government to shift their existing paradigm of North Korean policy in order to make effective policies. The lesson from the past 20 years of history in regard to the North Korean nuclear issues is that dialogue and negotiation is more effective than sanction and corruption in inducing North Korea to prevent the worsening situation. We should note that strategic patience by the Obama administration and continued sanction against North Korea during Lee Myung-bak administration already reflects in developing nuclear capability by North Korea rather than abandoning it. We need to realize that, at least, North Korea did not test missiles and nuclear weapons when dialogue and negotiation are ongoing. This shows that through serious efforts and reasonable change in condition to abandon North Korean nuclear weapons, it is possible to solve North Korean nuclear issues in peaceful manner. The past failure are because the elite in Seoul and Washington never had doubt about the old paradigm of the North Korean issues. It is time to put honest efforts to changing the old paradigm of the issues into a new paradigm for permanently disarming all nuclear weapon programs on the peninsula. In this context, let me assist several potential new approaches to achieve both denuclearization and peace regime in the Korean Peninsula. First, the South Korean and the U.S. government should consider the September 9th joint statement as a basic idea and develop the idea of the statement into a fundamental, comprehensive, and balanced principle in dealing with the North Korean nuclear issue. The denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, stipulated in the statement, should be developed and formalized into the establishment of nuclear weapon-free zone on the Korean Peninsula on the Northeast Asia. And the new policy should regard the establishment of a permanent peace system and nuclear weapon-free zone on the Korean Peninsula as a goal that we should simultaneously achieve, even though the statement approaches the nuclear issues by separating the denuclearization of Korean Peninsula from the establishment of permanent peace system. Second, South Korea and the U.S. should start four-party talks between South Korea, North Korea, the U.S. and China to discuss a peace treaty for establishing a permanent peace system in the Korean Peninsula, while resuming the six-part talk to resolve the nuclear issues. Third, the U.S. government and also Japanese government should resume bilateral and direct conversation with North Korea about improving the comprehensive relationship between the U.S. and North Korea, or Japan and North Korea at the same time that it resumes the 6 talks. The first, stable improvement of the inter-Korean relationship is an indispensable condition for achieving the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and establishing a peace system. A favorable and stable inter-Korean relationship is essential for facilitating process of solving the North Korean issues and peace on the Korean Peninsula. Thank you very much for listening.
It's an honor to be here with you. Nuclear weapons are kept in silos, but those are not the nuclear weapons that have the greatest power. Nuclear weapons are kept on bombers, but those are not the nuclear weapons that have the greatest power. Nuclear weapons are kept in submarines, but those are not the nuclear weapons that have the greatest power. The nuclear weapons that have the greatest power are the ones in our minds. Nuclear weapons have gotten into our heads. They expand there. They transform there. They loom over us. They hold us prisoner. The nuclear weapons, the first and foremost step we have to take in our journey is to rethink nuclear weapons, see them clearly, shrink them down, get free from them. Think about the genie argument. People who want to keep nuclear weapons say, you can't disinvent nuclear weapons. Or sometimes they say, you can't stuff the nuclear genie back in the bottle. This argument has won debates for 50 years. Its power comes from the fact that it is absolutely true. It also happens to be absolutely irrelevant. No technology is ever disinvented. Technology goes away, it just doesn't go away by being disinvented. It goes away one of two ways. One, better technology comes along. Or two, people realize it was dumb technology and they abandon it. Consider the penny farthing. These 19th century bicycles were difficult to get up on and dangerous to fall off. But nobody said, you can't stuff the penny farthing genie back in the bottle. When better bicycles came along with two wheels the same size, penny farthings simply went out of existence. The technology didn't have to be disinvented. Or look at this pram from England. Mom is wearing a gas mask. Junior is inside a hermetically sealed compartment with a little window so he can see the sky, and a chimney so he can breathe. This technology didn't have to be disinvented. It was dumb technology. No one wanted to take Junior for a walk in the middle of a chemical weapons attack. Finally, there's the Hiller VZ-1, invented in 1953 by the U.S. Army. It's an amazing engineering achievement. A small helicopter blade lifted a single soldier as much as 15 or 20 feet off the ground. Incredible. Of course. Some people called it the "here I am, I'm defenseless, exposed, and entirely vulnerable" death platform. Technology goes away all the time. It just doesn't go away by being disinvented. The question is not whether nuclear weapons can or cannot be disinvented. The question is whether they are smart military technology. And on the face of it, this seems unlikely, since no one has found a situation in which they needed to use them in almost 70 years. The genie argument got in our heads and confused us for 50 years. But we shouldn't forget the argument. It tells us something important about the way people who want to keep nuclear weapons think. In their minds, nuclear weapons are the genie. They are magic. Wave your nuclear weapon around and people will do whatever you say. But we all know there is no such thing as magic. A powerful case can be made for banning nuclear weapons. Not because nuclear weapons are immoral, although they surely are. Not because nuclear weapons are dangerous, although that danger is certain beyond doubt. It is powerful because nuclear weapons are not just immoral and dangerous. They are immoral, dangerous, and clumsy weapons. Nuclear weapons are messy. They leave a trail of poison downwind wherever you use them. Drop a nuclear weapon on your enemy's troops, and the radiation can blow back on your own troops. This is the famous 1976 study by physicists Frank von Hippel and Sidney Drell, in which they tried to design a surgical Soviet attack, carefully limited to military targets, silos, air bases, submarine bases. The result? 20 million people died. Even when you try to use nuclear weapons in a limited way, millions died. If you want to destroy a building in a city, you have to destroy 3/4 of the city to do it. Nuclear weapons are weapons with severe limitations. It shouldn't surprise us that nuclear weapons have not been used for almost 70 years. The whole trend in warfare is away from big, blundering weapons. The trend is towards smaller, more intelligent, more precise weapons. This is what the future looks like. This is a 4-inch drone called the Black Hornet Nano, equipped with a tiny camera. It hovers over the battlefield and peeks behind obstacles. Increasingly, nuclear weapons look like dinosaurs out of the distant past. If nuclear weapons are magic, then abolition is impossible, and proliferation is inevitable. But if nuclear weapons are clumsy, blundering, overly large, muscle-bound, expensive, 70-year-old technology, and who would want to keep them? I love this small blue planet. I love its children. Its great mountains. Its magnificent music. And its beautiful mornings. Nuclear weapons could take all of that away. Someone once said that if they had to, the people of Afghanistan would be willing to eat grass to get nuclear weapons. I would be willing to eat grass to prevent nuclear weapons from ever being used again? What would you be willing to do to save the things you love?